My Ray Romano story it's short and sweet. I was doing comedy at the Improv, and I was about 5 years into doing stand-up, maybe 5 or 6, so I definitely had a rhythm. I kind of had a vibe going on. I probably wasn't as funny as I thought I was at the time, but I definitely was getting a lot of spots. I remember I was getting ready to go up on stage, and this would happen a lot to me all the time. Rita, the manager there, she's still there. She rolled up on me, and she always calls me Joey. Joey, Dane Cook wants to go on. Okay, and basically when you're a comic at that point, 5, 6, 7 years in, it's called getting bumped. And a lot of times though, the comic would say, hey, you know what, you go, and then I'll go, so it would work out fine. And then at that point, Whitney Cummings, so many comics are coming in there and just dropping in. You never knew who would drop in. But that's the crazy thing about comedy, is that a huge comic like that might drop in on just a show that's full of like a lot of locals. At this point, I'm next up in the chute to go up. So I'm getting in the zone, and I'm standing outside, and Rita rolls up on me, and she's like, hey, Joey, Ray Romano's here. And I'm like, okay, cool. And in my head, I'm like, no problem. Ray will go up and then I'll go up. She's like, no, he wants to know, is it cool if he goes after you, you'll bring him up? And I'm like, okay, cool. And in the back of my head for like a second, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like Ray Romano's going to watch my set, right? And you got to remember, people always say as a comedian, oh my God, it takes balls to do what you do. I could never get up there. It takes so many. Dude, you must have balls. Like, they love saying that. And it's not. It's, you need to be delusional. You need to be delusional to do it. And I feel that having that bit of being delusional is what makes you believe I'm the funniest guy. I'm the funniest person in the place. So in back of my head, the delusion, it started hitting hard, because I'm like, damn, dude, Ray's gonna see my set. You never know what could happen. It's Ray Romano. He had just finished this series on, I think it was Showtime, that was all about the music business. And like, I'm a fan, My mom loved everything. Everyone Loves Raymond. She died watching Everyone Loves Raymond. So I have a connection to Ray in the sense that I've grown up with him. Now he's gonna watch me do stand-up. I had an amazing set. Like one of those sets that like, when you're done, you're like, yeah, that feels good. You can always tell you did good when you're walking off stage and randos go to high five you, like, yeah, bro. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. So as I'm going off, I had to bring him up. And as I'm bringing up, he says to me, as I say, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Romano. And he's walking up, right? And as we kind of, go from him to me, there's always that, everybody sees it where the two comics kind of talk to each other. And he says to me, hey man, stick around. I want to talk to you after my set. And at that moment, I'm like, from the moment he said that, I'm like, it's on. He wants me in a movie. I'm sure he's written, there's a movie going down. And and if you know me, my mind, I'm doing high fives going, okay, it's on. This is on. It's on. It's going to happen right now. I've read about these stories in Hollywood. Ray Romano saw me. He's going to put me in a movie, and I'm going to have a house in Malibu. I'm going to have the key. I'm going to be surfing with everyone. I was already envisioning that. His handler, some guy that was there with him, goes, yeah, Ray asked me to tell you, could you stick around? Because he wants to talk to you after his set. And I'm like, yeah, he just mentioned to me on the set. He goes, yeah, just stick around here. We'll go talk in the lobby. We'll get a table. We'll sit down. I'm like, okay. I'm sitting in the back of the club, and all that's going through my head is, what is it that Ray Romano wants to talk to Joesib about, man? And I watch his set, and then, I'm like, okay, cool. And we all walk out, and Ray gets done. Okay, cool. Place goes crazy. He murders. He comes off stage, and now it's me, his handler, and Ray, and we're walking down the hallway of the Hollywood Improv into the main room, and there's all the booths in there, and they get us a booth away from everyone, and we sit down, and I remember his handler, he disappears, and then Ray scoots in, and I scoot in, and then we're both like face to face, and I'm just like, okay. Like in my mind, I'm like, dude, this is something you're gonna have to remember for the rest of your life. And he looks at me, and in that Ray Romano voice, he's like, hey, I noticed you have that one joke about your kids, and I kind of have a joke about my kids too. And I just, I'm trying, and I'm like, and it was like some joke I had that was like about my son and I, and like a baseball coach, and just I'm like, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was too. He's like, okay, I just want to make sure because I feel that and he just wants to make sure that our two bits aren't the same. Which at this point, you're Ray Romano, no one's gonna know or care. And I thought that was so cool. But it was nothing about a movie. There was no mention of Malibu. There was no mention we're flying on the private jet. None of that. And I remember I'm just sitting there and he's just looking at me. He's like, he kind of looks at me. He's like, kind of like, well, that's it. Or you look disappointed. I'm like, and I just came clean. I go, I thought you were going to ask me to be in a movie. And he starts laughing. And then he kind of realized, oh man, I could see. And I'm like, I don't know. I just thought like, Ray, you're Italian. I'm Italian. My mom loves your show. He's like, oh, and we just kind of start laughing. And then I go one more, I go for Hail Mary. I go, I know you do Vegas a couple times a year. What do you think? Like, do you think I could come out and maybe open up one of those shows? And right away he goes, nah. I have one of my buddies that like, that's where he makes all his money from doing those 3 shows out of the whole year. And I'm like, all right, cool. He was so cool, though. He was so cool. We talked. And at the end of the day, I mean, to sit down with Ray Romano and have him talk about his comedy and my comedy, I was just like, wow, what a solid human being. I actually ran into him probably 3 or 4 years later. I was out doing a private gig in Palm Springs, and I'm in this little boutique hotel, and I'm there with my girlfriend, and she goes, oh my God. She's like, dude, Ray Romano just walked in. And I'm like, really? And I turn around and he recognized me right away. He's like, hey, Joseph. I'm like, no way. What's up, Ray? And he comes over and we start talking and like we're hitting it off well, but it was during like the playoffs, in football. And he's like, you're here, man. How do you feel about the game tomorrow? And I go, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know who's playing. And as soon as I told him I wasn't into football, he just was like, I'm done with you, and just bailed. And I was so bummed I didn't just lie and say, I'm totally down for the game, Ray. Yeah. But sometimes, I don't know, it doesn't turn out the way you think it's going to turn out.